Welcome back everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're doing another seasonal championship. This one is called Deutschland's Finest. So basically we're in German cars from the S1 class. So Audi, Porsche, Mercedes and the like. So yeah, really looking forward to trying this one out, because I don't think we've done this kind of championship before. And yeah, we're getting there in a car that unfortunately is not high enough for class to compete. But it is still one of my favourite German cars out there. It is the Mercedes AMG Hammer. One of the few, if not one of the only cars from the 80s from Mercedes in this game, which I hope is going to get rectified in the next Forza game, whichever one that is. Obviously it's most likely going to be Forza Horizon 5 at this rate, but yeah, still, I hope there's going to be more representation for certain car makers from certain decades, because yeah, there's some big blank spots out there, to be honest. Hopefully should be rectified, and some car manufacturers that I hope to make a return to the series as well, because it's been a long time since we've had something like a Saab in a game, and I'd really like some Saabs, to be honest. So yeah, you get to win the Porsche 9146, which is a pretty damn good car. So yeah, let's see what races we're going to be doing.
Even though it's freezing out there, I'm pretty sure you'll have a lot of fun with this seasonal. Just make sure you wrap up warm.
So yeah, these are the cars we're going to get to choose from. So we've got a couple of Audi R8s, one with the V10 from 2013, and then the newer V10 version from 2016. Hopefully we'll get the newest version of the Audi R8 in the next game. But we also get the Audi Sport Quattro Classic Rally car. Then we've got a few BMWs, the M cars, M4, M3 and M5. The M5 is probably my favourite out of those three. I'm not a massive fan of the M4 in terms of the way it sounds. And even though I do really like the M3, it's not massively different over this standard version, which at the end of the day is a little bit less ostentatious. And then we get a brace of Mercedes. We get the E63S, which I actually really rather like. The GTS, which again I really rather like. I'm not a massive fan of the GTR, if I'm all honesty. I think it's a bit meh. And then the SLS, both SLs, to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of either, although I do prefer the SL65 to the SLS, purely because it's got such a huge amount of torque and horsepower from a really rather large V12. And then we've got a brace of Porsches, everything from a Cayman to a GT2 to a GT1 to the you know, the specialised versions from Gunfer Works or Emery Motorsports or Singer. And then a brace of Volkswagens, which I do not care for, because they're either rally cars or a Forza Edition camper van. So yeah, we're going to get in the... oh, I'm not sure. I think we're getting the M5. It's a bit on the low end of the class, but it's got 600 horsepower from a 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine. So it's quite powerful, but obviously it also weighs quite a fair bit as well, being a luxury saloon with all-wheel drive. But yeah, it's going to have the acceleration on the launch, it's going to have the grip, and yeah, being quite a new car, it's going to have the braking as well. So let's see what it can do. Even though I'm not a massive fan of newer BMWs, I mean, especially ones that are turbocharged, I think this is probably one of the better ones. Certainly better than the previous generation of the 5. Although I'm not a massive fan of the looks of it, I do kind of prefer the V10 M5. If you could have the V10 M5 in this car's, you know, exterior and handling and braking, then that would be perfection as far as I'm concerned, even if it wouldn't be as powerful. Holding our ground. The reason to have the all-wheel drive system is that we're in the winter season, so yeah, ice and snow can obviously play havoc with handling. Because we're in the lower end of the class, we've got a bunch of upgraded cars joining us that wouldn't traditionally be in S1. So we've got a Golf R32 behind us, a 90s era M5 beside us, and then a racing Porsche from the 60s. The 90s era M5 has got it in for me apparently. We've got way more power than that Porsche, but it's way smaller than we are as well. And therefore a lot nippier, and we've got a lot more in the way of weight to slow down with whatever momentum we're carrying. You've probably noticed that I've not been reviewing cars on this game for a while now, and that's purely because I'd rather review them in Forza Horizon 5. Obviously there's no guarantee that some cars that I can review on this game are going to be in that game, but I would rather review them in that game, because you know it's going to be a new game, they're going to have new graphics, new car sounds, new handling physics and everything like that, and I'd rather just try them out for the first time in terms of a review on there. So that's why. Obviously, if we don't get round to them being added to the game in the future, or they're not in the game as standard, then I might well come back to this game and review them. But obviously, we also have the next Forza Motorsport game coming out as well, which again might have at least 1,000 cars in it, which is what a lot of people are predicting. So yeah, I imagine at some point we will get around to the cars that I have yet to review on this game, or I've reviewed in previous Forza games. But yeah, just hang on in there. Not much longer now until the next Forza Horizon game is out, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, comfortable win there with the BMW. But despite the Golf only being in A class, because we're so low in the S1 class, that came second, which is a big surprise. And then the Porsche came third, that we were following for a while. Then the 90s M5 came in fourth, and then the god-awful X6 came in fifth. But yeah, no, let's get on to the second race. Right, so that race was a circuit race, so we're going to go for a point-to-point one this time. And yeah, I'm feeling something a little bit more racy, so I think we're going to go for a Porsche. I think we're going to go for the Singer, to be honest. I really do like that car. But then the Gun for Works version of the Carrera 2 is also pretty damn good as well. Less power, more in the way of weight, but actually does have better handling and braking, weirdly enough. But yeah, the acceleration is way down, and so is the top speed. Yeah, we'll go for the Singer. So yeah, nearly 500 horsepower from a naturally aspirated flat 6 engine, and it only weighs 2,315 pounds, which is again really rather good for a naturally aspirated engine, which is obviously it's getting harder and harder now to make engines that are naturally aspirated and extremely powerful. Not because of technological reasons or anything like that, because of environmental concerns, and yeah, the fact that if you're making engines on large volume, then you have to offset that with other more economical engines. So yeah, it becomes quite difficult now for small volume car manufacturers. Obviously Porsche still sells a lot of cars to make powerful naturally aspirated engines anymore. That's probably why Porsche probably might well have foresaw that was going to be a concern, so may well have come up with the Cayenne and Macan in advance for that, because they can sell low emission diesel versions of those cars and offset anything from their high powered versions. But obviously this is a modded, resto modded even version of the Carrera, of the Porsche that it's based on, so these don't have to worry about those kind of things at all. It's technically, I guess, an aftermarket thing rather than actually manufacturing a car. What is the case is the fact that this is only rear wheel drive when we're in the snow, which I did not think about when choosing this car. I'm more worried about acceleration and speed, which this has plenty of. Really looking forward to seeing what the seasons are like in the new Forza Horizon game. I've not really been watching or delving into a lot of the reveals and updates and about the game and everything, so I'm a little bit clueless on that, but I have seen some stuff and I am impressed by the size of the map. It's 1.5 times bigger than the map that we have here, which was hardly small, obviously not far from the largest of maps, but still far from the small one. Still took me a while to do the whole 100% road completion achievement, so yeah, it's no doubt going to take even longer with Mexico. Oops, see Daisy, got the corner a little bit too much there. And a good thing for me, personally, with the How Fast Will It Go series is the size of the motorway, which is infinitely longer than here. It's about half as long again, so that'll be interesting. But what is not interesting is the fact that I have failed to gain any places for a long time. Right at the end there, nearly caught up, but yeah. The modded Singer there is a massive disappointment, giving us a lonely 6 points in 7th place, putting us back into 3rd. But we are only 10 points behind, so we might well be able to make it up in the final race. But yeah, it's going to be a close call regardless. So yeah, let's get on to that 3rd race and see what happens. So with that Singer choice, I went more with my heart than my head, so I think we're going to have to go for something a little bit better. Not that that car is awful, but obviously we need more punch behind our efforts there. So maybe the E63S, or more likely the Audi R8 V10 Plus. I think we'll have to go for the R8 to be honest. So yeah, 610 horsepower on a 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 engine. And yeah, it doesn't weigh all that much for a car that is obviously all-wheel drive and quite luxurious. So yeah, let's see what this can do. Hopefully we can at least get a 1st place and salvage something. Whether or not that's going to be enough to make up for the 10-point deficit we got over the 1st place position in the championship overall, we'll have to see. But yeah, hopefully it will do wonders for us. Certainly going to have the launch over the rear-wheel drive cars. We definitely have more power than most here, I would imagine. Not a massive fan of the R8, especially in terms of how it looks and the fact it really does feel like a cheaper Lamborghini, but the engine does sound glorious and there's no doubt in its capabilities. And certainly no doubt in how quick it is as well. Got good brakes as well. There is some of that typical Audi understeer though, despite this being a mid-engine car, which is not helpful. Somehow that god-awful X6 is keeping ahead of us. How is that fat, large, absolutely useless of a car ahead of me? Come on. There we go. Onwards to victory. Unless we get swallowed up by that X6. Nope. But that X6 was incredibly well driven there. No doubt about that, especially given how bad it is of a car. But yeah, there we go. We get 20 points. So we've had two first place positions and a 7th place position, which is really rather sporadic, to say the least. But yeah, it's made up for the 7th place position there, giving us 8 points ahead of the X6, which managed to get into 2nd somehow. Then an M3 from 97, then an M2, and then an Audi TTS in 5th. So yeah, that was a decent championship. That was. You get a nice car for your troubles as well, and yeah, you get to try out some of Germany's finest vehicles. So or Germany's finest vehicles. So yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.